What's up, beautiful, beautiful people? How are you guys doing today? My name is Luffy and I'm coming back to you guys with another video. Today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about some new updates on the Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness. So the SBA just last night released some new guidelines and instructions on getting your loan forgiven. So I'm going to actually have a link to this down below in the description box. You guys can read along with me if you want to. If you don't want to, that's why I'm here. I'll break it down for you right now. But before I begin, I just want to say thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys like my commentary, if you guys like my advice and opinions and how I break down financial information for you guys related to investing and small businesses and entrepreneurship, personal development, feel free to subscribe to my channel, comment down below, and like the video. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So without further ado, let me begin. Like I said, SBA just yesterday, last night actually, so this is fresh off the press, released some new guidelines on your forgiveness. So they actually released the forgiveness application and the instructions for filling out that application. They started off by pretty much giving you the form that they're going to use to calculate your forgiveness amount. But one of the biggest things that's left off of it is the actual calculation between, for instance, if you had 5 full-time equivalents in the previous period and now you have 3 full-time equivalents in the covered period. How does that actually, is it a straight up 60% of the requested amount gets forgiven, or how exactly does that work? They don't really have the guidelines on here, and I assume that there's going to be more information that's going to come out because that's just one of the questions. And like I said, this just came out. No one is yet eligible. No one has completed the 8-week period, although people are getting close. So we should start to see more and more guidelines and guidance come out from the SBA. There's a checkbox on here if you got over $2 million. So obviously what Secretary Mnuchin was saying about performing audits on large PPP amounts, that looks like it's going to go through. I fully expect this to be automated or at least online for 85–90% of people at the bare minimum, because it doesn't seem like it's that difficult for some developer to kind of put this into code and make it kind of real easy for us small business owners to just enter our payroll information and amounts. There is documentation that's required for you to submit with your loan forgiveness application, but it's not as much as you would think. All they're asking for really is payroll reports for your covered period and payroll reports during the previous period. So you can use the beginning of this year, or you can use last year during a 4 or 5 month period, or if you're a seasonal. They have different ways that you can get the full-time equivalents from when business was good, and then they compare that to your full-time equivalents now. So that most of it, I assume, is going to end up being automated. We don't have all of the information about that yet, but we should expect to see more guidelines. We also see that in here they do have that full-time equivalency reduction safe harbor. That was the, if you had 5 employees and you got PPP money and 3 of them are laid off, and you told them to come back to work and all 3 of them said, no, I'm cool, I'm making more money on unemployment. Well, this gives you that deduction against your full-time equivalents. Now, what's really interesting is in the documentation, they don't require you to, they require you to keep in writing an employee refusing to come back to work, but they don't require you to submit that documentation necessarily with your application for forgiveness. So just based off of my reading from this information, it seems that, and I wouldn't at all recommend this, but it seems that someone could, in that same scenario, 5 employees when you applied for, 5 employees when you applied for PPP, you have 3 employees now, all 3 of them are refusing to come back to work. Or even they're not, refusing to come back to work, and you want to use the PPP funds for, your 2 employees, you can kind of just put that they refuse to come back. They're not requiring that documentation. Now, it does say that that documentation, you must have it on file for at least, I believe, 6 years. after you apply for forgiveness, so that the Office of the Inspector General and the SBA at any time could perform an audit. But as Mnuchin said, over 2 million, you're gonna probably get audited. Under $1 million, I'm not really sure. So that was kind of like a little hole that I also noticed within these guidelines. But like I said earlier, also, these guidelines are really just, I don't want to say a starting point since we're months into this process now, but they're kind of one of the first iterations of what we should expect to see. And I fully expect to see a lot more guidelines and guidance issued within the next couple weeks, leading into the next month, when those first recipients of PPP funds are now nearing towards the end of their 8-week period. If Congress in the interim doesn't extend that period, which I also, at the very least, think they should do. Maybe they will do. Let's see how much politics plays a role. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the video. I wanted to go into the loan forgiveness. So this is new information, just came out last night from the SBA. I'm going to put the link down below so you guys can check it out for yourselves. Once again, I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. Please hit that like button and subscribe. One love, guys. I'm out.